Good afternoon, everybody. Merry Christmas. It's the 25th of December, 2017. I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. If you need to reach me, my email is rick, rick0327@me.com. Please email me only if you're interested in making a donation to receive my paperwork. Okay, please don't send me these long emails explaining to me your situation and okay, only explain to me your situation after you decided you want to send me a donation. I'm very busy and I don't have time to read emails. I'm sorry. All right, so today I'm sharing a couple of things today. All right, a subscriber named Julio had his case closed before it began by sending in my paperwork. The mother of his children applied for Medicaid. They told her she had to apply for child support, which is what they make you do. I did a video on that months ago, which is basically making her a hostile witness, which means she's being forced to, if it's to work properly anyway. I mean, if the court was legit, technically she'd have to go to court and testify. She's being forced to testify against him to receive her child support. She has no choice. Anyway, he went to the court. Uh, he filed all my paperwork, and well, anyway, let me prove that he has my paperwork first. Okay, this is Julio. These are all the emails that I sent him. Okay, see, these are all, he made a donation, and these are all the paper. This is all the emails I sent him, the paperwork. Okay, so this is proof that he has my paperwork, and I got to do this because whenever I have a victory of some sort, or I tell you guys to do something, there's always a channel or two out there that'll claim that I'm full of shit and my stuff doesn't work and don't do what I'm telling you to do and stuff like that. Okay. I also have these wonderful trolls going on other channels and claiming, my paperwork doesn't work or my case was only dismissed because my daughter was in college, bullshit like that. Meanwhile, my son was under the age of 21 when the case was, my support was vacated. So it's all bullshit. But I must be doing something right if I have trolls talking about me on other channels. Okay, it was brought to my attention today, and I'm going to show you who they are. They're called Quatlu trolls. See, this is Quatlu. This is a message board. It's like for lawyers and judges and stuff, and they like to make fun of people like See, they'll call tax fraud, tax protesters, sovereign citizen scams. So anybody that fights for their rights without a lawyer, they call them sovereign citizens. Anybody that and I don't get into tax stuff. I stay away from that. I only worry about child support. Okay, so what they do is whenever somebody tells the truth, the best way to discredit a truth sayer is call them crazy. Okay, it's been going on for a long time. They called Jesus Christ crazy 2,000 years ago. Okay, so whenever somebody is a truth sayer, the easiest way to discredit them is call them crazy. And the way they do that today, in the courts, you're called a sovereign citizen. In the media, you're called a conspiracy theorist. Okay, so what they do is they have these people here, they have these trolls, and they go around and they discredit people like myself, I'm Osiris, the Liquid Theory, guys like us who are out there telling the truth, and we're doing it credibly. Okay, we're not just saying it; we're proving it. Okay, so let me show you how they make fun of us. Okay, sovereign citizen redemption. If you feel the sudden urge to use only red ink, denounce your name in all capital letters, affix your thumbprint on legal paperwork, copyright your moniker, convene your own private grand jury. You're you're a sovereign citizen. By the way, this is all true stuff. Okay, but the best way to discredit us is calling us crazy. Okay, but I don't get caught up in that all capital letters stuff. If you look at my paperwork, I have them in all capital letters on purpose. Okay, I don't get caught up in that stuff. I believe that we can win just by facts and by using their rules against them. So they can never call me a sovereign citizen because I don't get caught up in that stuff. I don't, listen, I have made arguments back when I first started 5 years ago when I was learning like you guys. And I have sent in paperwork with my red thumbprint. I tried all of these things, all right? It didn't work, okay? But I'm not saying it's not true. I just say it didn't work for me. But here you are, they're making fun of these people. So they have their Quatlu trolls out there discrediting us. So obviously we're doing something right. All right, so let's get back to what I was talking about. Julio. All right, Julio had his case closed. This is the case right here. See, it says closed. All right, and I got to cover some of the information. All right, but there it is. And if you looked at the last name, which is right here, I got permission to do this. All right. So, all right. Hold on a second here. All right. So I asked him what he did, and what he did was he sent in the interrogatories, discovery of evidence. I'll show you what he sent in. All right. When you get my paperwork, one of the things I send you is affidavits filed before going to court. All right. The instructions. Well, thank you. Here it comes. All right. Oh boy. All right. What he filed was the interrogatories to the petitioner. He filed an objection, writ of discovery, a verified complaint, and all these paperwork here. And they before the case ever got started, they closed it. They dismissed it. Okay, closed. I just showed you. Closed. And he sent me the email this morning. All right. This is what happened. I was living in Kendall with the mother of my daughter, 3-year-old, and she filed child because someone at child support agency tell her the Medicaid that you need to child. And I think Julio, English is his second language, so he's having to, it's just trying to understand. It's not his fault. He doesn't write, perfect English, and that's not a big deal. Okay. Anyway, he went to court, and then after he went to court, he found he found my channel. Okay, here he goes. He goes, I begin to watch your channel, get to know more about you and others that are going through the same struggle. I was hopeless and depressed, and at this point, I know I need to take action. And I did what you always tell us to do: learn, absorb the information. I showed you guys. I sent him the affidavits. He obviously made a donation, and I sent him the affidavits. Okay, and you guys want to read this later, but basically he did what I told him to do. He filed the affidavits. He also, in court, he spoke up for himself. He called it a fraud, which is what it was. And as you can see here, case is closed. All right. Merry Christmas. All right, guys. This is proof that it can be done. It's not easy. I always tell you guys it's not easy. And every case is not the same. This may not work for everybody else. It just worked for him. Okay, but it worked. All right. So it's proof by filing the right paperwork before going to court puts them on the defensive. So as I said, he claimed he's not claimed. He said he sent them interrogatories because he can do that because the child support agency was on behalf of the wife. I actually sent the interrogatories to the wife, and he filed an objection. He filed a discovery what do you file discovery of? Writ of discovery he filed. Okay, all this paperwork. He said if I go back there, I didn't feel like going through the whole email, but he said he filed a writ of discovery, and that's what helped him. He believes. All right, so now I keep telling you guys it's important to file paperwork before going to court. All right, and I just created a new one. Okay, it's called the notice to the court, demand, nature, and cause of the proceedings. Okay. Um, Here it is here. Now, I always tell you guys that there's the plaintiff or the petitioner has a constitutional uh, requirement to submit evidence of an injury in fact. Okay, so what you have here is U.S. Right here. What I did was, let me go back here. All right. This is, I tell you about Google Scholar. You see what I did here? I just put in a keyword, plaintiff, burden of proof. That's all I put in there. Okay? And what I did was I selected courts. And what you do is you deselect, you clear, and then I just click on Supreme Court. I click done. Then I put in plaintiff, burden of proof, and only cases from the Supreme Court comes up. Okay, so I'm going through all of these. That means that there's something in there, burden of proof, and I came across the good old, what I've been saying for a few months now, Lujan versus Defenders of Wildlife. This is a key Supreme Court decision for. Now, this is the Supreme Court, the highest court. All the courts that you guys are going into, they must follow the precedent. Not the President of the United States, presidents, meaning cases before, settled before. Okay? It's like the courts decided it before it happened to you. It means it's like Roe versus Wade. Women are allowed to get abortions. It's these landmark type cases. This is a landmark case for us. So now what I do is I click on how it's cited. That means how other courts are citing it. So I click on how cited, and here are the quotes. To satisfy Article 3 standing requirements, a plaintiff must show it has suffered an injury in fact, right? How many times you hear me say that? It has to be concrete. That means it has to be an actual injury. Now, with these child support claimed injuries, it's speculated. It's speculated that because you didn't pay support, the mother or the child support agency had to pay welfare because it's all speculative. It's not proof. There could be a number of other reasons. Here's the key reason why she's getting welfare. She's not working. Okay, this is 2000. It's going to be 2018. So women are expected to work, even with children. Okay, so it's not like the 1950s, even the 1970s when my mother wasn't working. Okay, so it's speculative, but you need an actual injury. A black eye, that's an injury in fact. Okay, an injury. It could be an economical injury. Like what they're doing to us. They're taking the money right out of your bank account. They're freezing your bank account. You can't pay your rent. That's an actual injury. Because you could tie the action. Why was your bank account frozen? Because they issued a bullshit support order. Then they sent it, the child support agency sent it to the bank and they froze it. You can prove all these things by paper. Okay? All right, so let's get back to this. Suffered an injury, concrete and particularized. Actual or imminent, not conjecture or hypothetical. That's what we're just talking about. The injury is fairly traceable to the challenged action. All right, it's likely to be immediate, but the injury will be redressed by a favorable decision, meaning that the court, based on all of these things I just talked about, they just said right here, will lead to a remedy. Okay, it's redressable. Okay, now what court is? U.S. versus Perry, United States Courts of Appeal, a very high court. Okay, and under the fair faith and credit clause, right? All right, under the fair faith and credit clause, they must take heed. They must you know heed that judgment. All right. So what I did here now, this is going to be another one of those affidavits you send before going to court. Notice to the court, demand discovery of evidence to support the nature and cause for the proceedings. Okay. Also, we're invoking rights and privileges clause under Article 4, Section 1, United States Constitution. Okay. All right. So the court must take notice that the undersigned respondent is invoking privileges and immunities clause under Article 4, Section 1. I'm not going to get into all that. Just trust me. Look it up. Which includes every state constitution requiring trial by jury. Every state has every state constitution has a trial by jury must remain inviolate. Okay, every state. That's why the privileges and immunity clause comes into play here. So, the citizens of each state shall be entitled to all privileges and immunities of citizens in the other states. The undersigned is guaranteed rights at common law. All of our rights in the Constitution, they're at common law. Now, if you're in a court that doesn't provide relief at common law, meaning they do not have trial by jury, how are you going to get relief, or how are you going to be given your constitutional guarantee to a trial by jury? If they cannot give it to you, then you're in the wrong court. And what do we do with that? We have, all right, we have notice of the court, change of venue, court of record to proceed by common law. Okay, so we're going to send that in as well. All right, so the United States versus Cruikshank, circuit courts, lower courts have no common law jurisdiction of offenses of any grade or description. Okay, so what that's saying is that the court that you're in is not a common law court, so you're in the wrong court. That's how they do that, guys. Basically, what they do is they're kind of like kidnapping you and bringing you into the wrong court where you don't have a chance because all your rights don't count in that court. They also do that in when you get arrested and you're arraigned. What they do is they bring you into a court, an arraignment court, which is not a court of record. So all of your rights do not count. Okay? So what they do is they arrest you, they kidnap you, and they automatically bring you into the wrong court. And then you're before a judge, and like, how do you plead? And they got you, you're screwed. They already assign you counsel under the Sixth Amendment. Who works for the court, by the way? So if it's state appointed, who do they work for? They work for the state. You see how they get you? Then you got those clowns I showed you at the beginning of the video, the Quatlu clowns making fun of us because, see, they be making fun of, well, they do. They already have their trolls making fun of me. Okay? So this one clown, one troll, my man Kayshawn told me about him. He was on the Liquid Theories channel talking shit about me. And I went back and I confronted him, calling him a bullshit artist. And he's a troll. That's what this clown does for a living. Because of the people that he works for, these judges and lawyers who are supposedly officers of the court, who are supposed to protect you, are really victimizing you because you didn't go to law school. And you're not part of their club, the Bar Association. See, the Bar Association has their own rules. Okay? I was just watching a show on Showtime called Billions. Good show. And there's a scene where the lawyer who's representing the star of the show, the guy Axelrod, is talking to a United States attorney, and in his pocket he's recording the conversation, and the star of the show is listening on in the car, and he screams into the phone, and the U.S. attorney hears it, and he goes, well, I'll be sure to notify the Bar Association of your behavior today, because he was recording the conversation. Now, he has every right to record the conversation. There's no law against it. But the Bar Association have different laws. See, they don't want any secret conversations to get out. Okay? Because there's all these little secret deals that are made between the lawyers and judges. And so they have meetings long before cases go on. But they're supposed to be impartial, remember? So this is what we're up against. But it's okay. All right, I showed you the emails earlier with Julio. He was down, depressed. He found my channel. He listened to me. He watched my videos. He made the donation. And he filed the paperwork. And the case is closed. Okay? It can be done. All right? And it's done by filing the right paperwork. Paperwork such as this. All right? You have a right to know the nature and cause. And let me show you okay? Standing involves both constitutional requirements, which are based on the case or controversy clause in Article 3, and prudential limitations, which are crafted by the courts. Okay? The constitutional requirements are: the plaintiff must show an injury, suffered an injury in fact. This is not my opinion, guys. This is the Supreme Court. Okay? And you're allowed to use this. And this is in all my paperwork. If those of you have my paperwork and you read my paperwork, I talk about this all the time in my paperwork. You can't do any better than citing the Supreme Court. It's the highest court in the land. And all I do is and that's how I find these things. I just showed you how I did it. Right? I went back. All I did was put in plaintiff burden of proof, and I came up with all this stuff. That's how I do this, guys. That's how I come up with my paperwork. And I write it in my own writing. You see I write in capital letters? I do that on purpose. Because it doesn't matter, all this capitalization stuff. So people have you believe it does. It doesn't, not in the courts. The only thing that matters in courts are facts and evidence. And it's hard for a court to convict you, to prosecute you, if they don't have facts and they don't have evidence. And you got to force them to, show me how. Well, show me the demand evidence to support the nature and cause of the proceedings. Where is it? How are you going to say no to me when they no to you? How can they do that? Not when the Supreme Court in Lujan versus Defenders of Wildlife says that there's a where is it? It's a constitutional requirement. This is not the actual citation from Lujan, but I have it memorized. It's called the constitutional minimum standard. So if the petitioner who bears the burden, remember this, when you go to court, the petitioner has the burden of proof, not you. Remember, I tell you guys to keep your mouth shut. What they do is immediately they put you on the defensive. And of course, you're not used to being in court. You're not, and especially if you're there without a lawyer, you're nervous, and that's how they get you. They trip you up. But if you submit the paperwork first, before going to court, you already got them on the defensive, trying to explain why they have you in court. All right. So, all right. So it's good news. All right. Julio had his case closed. They showed you the email. All right. It was a nice surprise today. I didn't expect it, and I want to share it with you guys. All right. So I want you guys to enjoy the rest of your Christmas. Anybody wants to reach out to me to make a donation to receive the paperwork, my email is rick03037@me.com, and I hope to hear from you guys. 1 second, let me see if I could find this thing. All right. Enjoy the rest of your Christmas.